Yeah, thank you so much, Abhishek. So, good evening and hello, everyone. This side Dipesh Garg from the SCGGV. And so, today we will start the session for Android Study Jams that we have also discussed yesterday in the induction program. So, those who attended the induction program yesterday, they should know that we have announced the info session for the Android Study Jams today. So that's only the info session for Android study jams. So basically Android study jams, let me introduce what is the Android study jams. Uh, 1 second. Yeah. So what are Android study jams? So basically Android study jams are community organized study groups for people to learn how to build Android apps using an online training course. Means it is all about the Android development, starting from the scratch. Means if you are a beginner or if you don't even know what is Android and how the apps are developed, and you don't know any programming language, so don't worry for that. Android Study Gems is all about the Android development starting from the scratch. So basically, uh, it is based on developing Android apps with the help of some of you have heard about the Kotlin programming language. It is basically used for the Android development thing. So I guess you all have understood what is the Android Study Jam. So can you write in the chat box like who have done Android development in the past, who have some familiarity with the Android development? Let me see in the chat section. It's great to see that some of you have done the Android development in the past. So, do you like to develop apps, or just gaining some skills for the future, or you really like to develop apps? Can you write in the chat section? Yes, Erwin. That's great. So the only thing needed in this Android study jams for the students is the enthusiasm and the zeal to learn, because even I have joined this Android development thing just recently, just a few months ago. But I have gained so much interest in this Android development because it is a quite interesting thing. Not just the skill, but it is very interesting to develop Android apps because it needs your creative thinking, what you think about designing the UI and all of the things. So it is basically very interesting thing, the Android development thing. So the next thing is this is me. I'm Dipesh Garg. I'm the Android Study Jams facilitator for this program. So basically, I will be taking the sessions for all the Android Study Jam sessions in the future. We will be having a few, also some more sessions on this Android Study Jams, where I will teach you how to develop Android apps from the scratch. You should join those sessions also. You can find me in the LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or GitHub. Many of you have used GitHub or should, or maybe you are new to the GitHub. So you can find me any of the in this social media handles. So in this Android study jams, you are going to use the Kotlin programming language. So can you write in the chat section, like how many have you heard about the Kotlin programming language, and how many of you have used the Kotlin programming language before? Abhishek, is there my sound problem to you?
Now it's clear, Dipesh. You can continue. I think those who are asking, they have some problem. I think Prashant has some problem. It's really clear. You can
Okay,
continue.
okay. Okay, thank you. So Prashant, you can rejoin the session. Yes, I think you should have the network problem. Okay, okay, it's great. Like you've heard about Kotlin programming language. Have you used it before? Because it is also an object-oriented programming language, like any other programming language. You should have used before, as like C++ or like Java. Okay, great. So let me tell you about the Kotlin programming language. It is like basically the Kotlin programming language is used for the developing Android apps and for helping the developers to be more productive, because it is very easy to write and the syntax is very easy to write. Uh, and it is basically the object oriented programming language and also the functional language, you can say. So basically the Kotlin programming language is used for developing Android apps. So how many have you heard about another language apart from Kotlin that are used to develop apps, Android apps, apart from Kotlin? Yes, Java is correct. Flutter is also correct. Yeah, Swift. Yeah, Python. Yes, great. It's great to hear like you have some knowledge about the languages that are used for Android development. It is very great to hear. So now we will move forward. It is the Android Studio. It is where use the Kotlin language to build the UI of the app as well as the coding thing. We will program the app and also all the things are done in the Android Studio. It is the official tool to build the Android apps. Abhishek, my voice is clear to you?
It's little bit lacking sometime. Okay, Dipesh, you can continue. It's
Uh,
actually it's a little bit lagging when you hear the last problem statement.
okay, okay, no problem. I will repeat that thing. So basically, Android Studio is the official tool to build Android apps, where you can code in Kotlin programming language and also in any other programming language. And basically, you can design the UI for your app. Uh, so it is basically the tool for building your Android apps. There are a lot of features available. In this study jams, we will use this Android Studio only to develop the Android apps. So I uh, I recommend you to please download and install this Android Studio in your computer, in your PCs. So it will be beneficial for you if you have some uh, prior experience to the user interface of Android Studio. So we will move to next slide. So talking about this Android study jams, we have various tracks available so that you can learn the Android development. So the first one track is new to programming track, and the second one is have prior experience uh, in programming. Okay, so the most advantageous thing of this Android Study Jams is that whether you know the programming or not, you can still start with the Android development, because this new to programming track is all from the scratch, because it first teaches you the Kotlin programming language, the fundamentals of Kotlin programming language, and then it will just upgrade you to developing some simple or some beginner level Android apps. So if you haven't know the programming earlier, or you are just a beginner in the programming, so you don't need to worry about that. This new to programming language track will guide you from the scratch. So this is the most advantageous thing for this Android Study Jam. And if you have any prior experience in any of the programming language, not only in Kotlin, in any like C++, Python, or any programming object-oriented programming language, more precisely to say. So there is a different track for you guys, like have prior experience in programming track. In this, you will just learn the first the Kotlin programming language. You will use the programming in Kotlin, and you will solve the exercises in the Kotlin programming language. You will learn the Kotlin first, and you will develop the apps also in this track. So basically, there are two tracks available. We will discuss these tracks in the further slides. Let's move further. So this is the new to programming language track. So you can see in the slide that first you have to learn the basics of building Android apps with the Kotlin programming language, and develop a collection of simple apps to start your journey as an Android developer. So means even if you don't have any prior experience to any programming language, then this track is for you guys, as uh, first you will learn the basics of the Kotlin programming language first, and then you will start your journey as an Android developer, because you will just develop some simple apps in this track. So don't need to worry if you don't know any programming language. You can see the prerequisites in this section. The only thing required is the basic computer literacy, means the basic computer skills, means how to operate this, your PC. Like everybody knows, if you are 12 pass, you just used in your schools, in the computer labs of the schools. That's enough for you guys. And basic math skills. All you have studied maths till 12th class, so you must have this little bit knowledge, this little bit prerequisites knowledge. So it is very easy for you to guys to start with this new to programming track. And the curriculum used is there are various means inside this track there are various pathways. There are 6 pathways available in this programming track that we will see in the future sessions. Just talking about in brief in this session. Someone has asked that Pragati has asked, can we do both tracks? Yes, definitely. It's all upon you. If you want to start with new to programming language, and if you have completed that, then you can move to the prior to experience. Or if you want to start with the prior to experience, that only depends upon you. It's all upon your comfortability. Someone has asked, by the way, sir, my RAM size always discourages me to use Android Studio. Yes, it is very like some limitations of using Android Studio, as it takes a lot of RAM storage, RAM size. So I recommend, if you have like at least 8 GB of RAM in your computer or your PC, so it will be very beneficial for you, because operating Google Chrome and Android Studio together is like a hectic thing. Can we do it in mobile? No, You can't do it because you have to code in Kotlin, and you need a strong compiler for that and a strong processor for that also. C language is different from Android language. C language is just a basic language. Means it is very basic. It is not. We can't use C language for developing apps. So let's move further. We'll answer the questions in the end of the session. The next is this. I will show you what are the pathways in this new to programming language. So the first pathway is the introduction to Kotlin. Means you will learn the Kotlin programming language, the syntax of this Android Kotlin programming language, how it is used, and what is its syntax, and what are the functions, what all the types of things, the keywords, everything you will know to start your journey in the Android development. So basically, the first pathway is the introduction to Kotlin programming language. In the next thing, pathway, you will learn to create your first Android app. Means you will just create a simple Android app, and you will also use the see the interface uh, of your developed Android app. So in the second pathway, only you will develop one simple Android app. Uh, Next thing is build a basic layout. Uh, you must have heard about the layouts, like the how your app sees when you open your uh, app, and what is the look of your apps, the layout of your app. So you will then build a basic layout, and you will learn the basics of layouts. Like there are various things in the layouts. You will learn that in this third pathway. Then fourth is add a button to an app. Means like you have seen in the Android apps, like a button, you just click and another slide opens or another screen opens, or just any activities created when you tap that button. And you will also add a button to the app. This is just the progress of this programming track, new to programming track. Next, fifth track is get user input. Like this one is the interactive thing from the user and the app. The user gives the input to the app, and the app gives the user an output, the relevant output for that input. So you will also learn this in this track. This one will be the interactive thing. Next thing is display a scrollable list. Means like you will add some pictures to your app and just scroll it like you just do in Instagram or Facebook. That type of thing you will be able to develop in the sixth pathway. So I guess this thing will be clear to the new to programming track. You guys must be seeing in the right section the badges. It is written in the rightmost thing of this slide. You must see the badges. You will also learn earn these badges in the Google developers profile. I will tell you about these badges further. Many people are asking, like, will there be any swags given? I will answer this in the end of the session. What will you get? So the next track is prior programming experience track. So this track is for those like who are having some prior experience in any of the object-oriented programming language. If you know some basics of any language, object-oriented programming language, then you can start with this track only. So you can see the prerequisites of this track is prior programming experience in an object-oriented programming language. Means you have done anything like C++. So this will be beneficial for you to start with this track only. Second is familiar with the with how to use an IDE. How many have heard of the IDE thing? How many of you know about IDE? What is IDE? Can someone name it? Can someone tell me the full form of IDE? Yes, Prayas is correct. Integrated Development Environment. It is correct. So IDE, basically IDE is the thing where your programming, it is the environment where your programming is done. It supports your programming. It just compiles in this environment only. Like your code is compiled and just see the things. Like have many of you heard about the Jupyter Notebook? It is a type of IDE. VS Code is an IDE. So this familiar with any of the IDE, like Atom or anything, just you should know about the IDE thing. Yes, great. PyCharm and Spider. The third thing is the familiar with the GitHub. So how many of you have heard about the GitHub? What is GitHub? Okay, great. Yes, community of coders, you can say. So GitHub is an open source hub, you can say in the simple words. It is a platform for the open source development or anything related to the open source. Have you heard, guys, heard about open source? Yes, great. So if you know about GitHub, like GitHub is the basically the hub for the open source development, or like all the open source projects are being there in the GitHub, and various people like contribute to GitHub in the GitHub repositories. Yes, great. So if you know about GitHub and you have some GitHub account, and you must have the pushed some code in GitHub, then it should be great for you guys to continue with this track. So in this, the curriculum used is to start with the Kotlin Koans. Kotlin Koans is the basically the exercises in the Kotlin programming language. It just teaches you the syntax and how to write code in Kotlin programming language. The language features like means every familiarity with the Kotlin programming language, you will learn the Kotlin Koans exercise. So we'll move forward. Let's see some of the content and the pathways in this prior programming experience track. The first one is the pre-work, that is the Kotlin Koans. The Kotlin Koans is like the series of exercises to become familiar with Kotlin programming language features. So first you will learn about the Kotlin programming language, like basics of it, and you will know the syntax and all the things in the Kotlin programming language, basically the fundamentals. Someone has written Pragati, like if we have not used Kotlin earlier, can we start second track? Yes, yes, definitely. If you have experience in any programming language, not just in Kotlin, if you have just done some programming in C++, or Python, you can just start with the second track. It is not necessary to start with the first track. It's all upon you, because in the second track you just first you will just learn the Kotlin programming language through the Kotlin Koans exercise. The only thing required is like you should have some knowledge about any object oriented programming language. Yes. So the next pathway is the build your first app. You will learn to build your first app if you start with the prior programming experience track. You will like just be able to build your first app in the next pathway. The Second pathway is the building an interactive app. Like you will do like click some buttons, like a dice roller app. You just click the button to roll, and the dice will roll according to this, and the random number will generate in the dice. The next thing is the layout. The same thing we discussed in the new to programming track. The layouts will design the layouts for this. So that's all about the content. There are all more content, the more pathways in this prior programming experience track. There are different more pathways in this that we will discuss in the further sessions. We will take the sessions from in this month only, or we can continue to the January, because this Android study jams is up to 25th Jan. We can take session with before 25 Jan, so don't worry for that. Someone has asked, I'm just a beginner in Python, can go with the second track? Yes, you can go, but I will recommend all of you guys to start with the new to programming, because uh, if you just start with the first track, you will know the basics of Kotlin, because it will start from the scratch. And if you think like if you don't need to know much about this thing, the new to programming thing, I will share you the means these tracks, the content for these tracks, the link for these tracks where you should start. You guys can decide where to start. It's all upon you, but I will recommend you to start with the new to programming track, because it will just guide you from the scratch and will be able to develop very creative and very like interesting Android apps when you finish the second track. So someone has said like I'm beginner in Java. Can I go for the second track? Same answer. It's all upon you. But I would recommend that you start with this new to programming track. Is there a substitute for Android Studio? My RAM size is... Yes, because it means like Android Studio is something like it is very friendly, user friendly, and then other thing like you can use the VS Code only. It is, you can develop apps to the VS Code. It does not use much RAM. Yes, it is. Yes, correct. VS Code. Next thing is the pathway. I've already told you about the pathways. Like you can see in the screen only, like Android basics, the introduction to Kotlin. You will this is the first pathway, the introduction to Kotlin. You will see various some of the videos and some of the code labs in this first pathway. So you just complete the code labs, and there are also some quizzes. So when you complete all the code labs and the quizzes, then one of the pathway will be completed. So this is all about the pathway. Just content means it just contain the content for the pathway. Okay. So next thing is the equipment needed for each student, the system requirements for installing. So let me show you the system requirements 1 second. So can you see in the screen like the system requirements of Windows, Mac, Linux? Can you confirm in the chat box? Okay, great. So if you are using the Windows operating system, then the 4 GB RAM minimum, but it is still not enough, because it is written the 8 GB RAM is recommended, and 2 GB of available disk space minimum, 4 GB recommended. and this minimum screen resolution. This is all about Windows, and you can also see the for if you have the Mac OS or like using the Apple, or for also the Linux users and the Chrome OS users. You can just look at these. I'll just hold down it. This one are the minimum requirements if you want to like start with the Android Studio thing. Let's move further. Yes, this was all about your computer requirements with the Android Studio. The next thing is the stable internet connection. You should have the stable internet connection with you guys, or because you would need it in this the Android development thing. And if next thing is the optional thing, like if you should have the Android device and the USB cable, because like in the Android Studio we have the emulator thing. Have you heard about the emulator? Please write in the chat section. Yes, okay. Some of you guys have heard and some of you guys have not. So I will just tell you. The emulator is just the virtual device, means virtual Android device, you can say. It just means when you just create an emulator to Android Studio, it just acts just an uh, like interface of any Android like mobile like thing just appears in the screen, and just you can when you develop the apps, and you can just see your development and the result of your development in that uh, mobile thing, this Android thing. Yes. So if you don't have any physical Android device, you guys just can use the emulator. It is just the virtual Android device, and whenever you just like the write the code or write the Kotlin programming language code, you can see your output in that emulator only. So that was all from the equipment needed for each student. So what about after completing the tracks, and what will you gain? So what you will gain, you will earn the badges. Means well, you will earn the badges when you will complete any code lab or any quiz in the pathways. So you will earn the badges. Badges are very important because it is like it will be shown in your Google developers profile. You must have heard about it, because Google developer profile is a very interesting thing. If you have a lot of badges in your Google developers profile, then it is very good for you. So you will earn a lot of badges from your Android development if you start with this tracks, both the tracks. You will earn a lot of badges. For the next, it is the first thing you will learn. This one, you can see in the screen, the developer profile looks like this. You will earn the badges like this. This carries, or you can see like this is an instance developer profile. This is just an example. She has earned the introduction to Kotlin pathway. She has just completed this pathway. So see, she has just gained this badge. So you can also earn badges like this. So this is all about what will you get. So the first thing you will get is the virtual badges on the Google developers profile on completion of each unit of the course. Virtual badges are very important, guys. If you're not getting it, it is very important for you, because the Google developers profile is a lot interesting thing. It's a lot big thing. The next thing is the certificate of completion. Means you will get a certificate of completion only if you complete the prior to programming with experience track. you will get the certificate on the new to programming language, because it is not yet completed, because it has still there are still development going on the new to programming language track. So if you complete the prior to programming experience track, then only you will get the certificate of completion. So I would recommend you to start with the new to programming language and then switch to prior to programming language, and then when you complete both the tracks, then you will gain the certificate. It is means like a certificate is from the Google Android team. It is from the Android team. So I guess you guys know the importance of the certificate. And next thing is like when you will learn about the Android development, means you will like you will be interested in developing a lot of apps. And if you develop any app, and this I means like as a facilitator, I have the chance to like select one of the app from you guys, and I will send the your app to the Google team, the Google Android team, and they will show like if you have developed very interesting app, so that you have the chance to showcase your like and developed app in the social media of Android team, or like any big platform. So this is a great chance for you guys, because your app can be showcased in the social media of public big platform. So that's all about for you when you complete this. So thank you guys for being there. This is all about the Android study jams and what will you learn, and all the technical things like how to develop apps. We will take sessions on these things also, because we will be teaching from the scratch, like new to programming language scratch. In the future sessions, we'll be starting from the scratch from the new to programming language. So stay tuned for that. Someone has written, when will our session start? I can tell you, like in this month, in the end of this month only, we will take the sessions. Okay. Yes. So don't worry. Like I will share you the link. You can start from yourself only, or you can wait for the sessions also. So don't worry for that, guys, because we will take the sessions also for these two pathways, and we will teach you. Means I will teach you the Android development from the scratch. So that's all about my session today. It is I have given all the information about this Android study jam. So I'm open to answer your queries. You can ask some questions. I will answer them one by one.